All right, let's do this. Welcome back. It is the Unfltrd Bonds podcast. Can you believe this is like maybe what, the 6th, 5th, 7th episode? Where are we at this season?
lost track, honestly.
I did too.
Yeah.
But we are your hosts. I'm Jordan Williams, and I'm sitting next to my beautiful. Well, I'm not sitting next to her, but she's looking at me.
Yes.
What's your name, babe?
I love you, Ashton.
Ashton.
Yes.
Ashton, who are you?
I'm your wife.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Lovely on most days, I hope.
Oh, today, yes.
Great.
Anyways, this is Unfltrd Bonds, and we have a friend here. This friend is very special to us. We met her at the local church. Mm-hmm. Has it been, what, like 6-7 years now?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even realize that.
We were just talking about timing, and I was like, oh, man.
Well, without further ado, she works for an amazing airline, which I will not be acknowledging.
Jordan.
But her name is Willietta Grant, and she is on the Unfltrd Bonds podcast for the first time. But she's a friend of ours, and we've been able to grow and just see her grow in all of that she does. And so we wanted to bring her onto this show to talk about this idea about the single dilemma.
Bum, bum, bum.
I think we got sound effects.
We do.
I think we do.
He's waiting.
Okay.
Bow.
The extension.
Oh, so we're diving into the single dilemma.
Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, so it seems like people feel as though being single is like a waiting room. Like you're waiting for your person. And in the meantime, that waiting room is just dead. There's no life there, which is not true. And I feel like, dare I say, not the local church, the Big C church, not the local church, almost would say marriage is the cornerstone of salvation and not Jesus.
Yeah. Jesus? Who said that?
I feel like people in the church feel like you've made it.
So the whole church
married.
just caught astray?
Not the whole church.
Okay.
But I do feel like there's this narrative, like you're not holier than thou. You've not made it until you're married. And that's not true. We know that's not true.
Oh, okay. I'm tracking you.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like marriage is this like, it's just held in a high regard, which it is.
Yeah, put some respect on it.
It's a beautiful,
absolutely
sacred
yes, clean it up,
thing that the Lord created. And it also is not what makes you more Christ-like.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think you're leaning into this idea of people who idolize marriage and not God.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fair call out for sure.
So we're going to get into this.
Do we got a fun fact? I feel like the listeners just probably like,
we have a fun question to help us get to know Willietta better.
Okay, this is fun.
So if your single season had a hashtag, what would that hashtag be?
And it's trending on Twitter, or I think it's called X now, but whatever. Trending. Yeah, hashtag. You know what a hashtag is?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you looked at us like you didn't know.
It's just a surprise.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, what's your hashtag?
I believe my hashtag is hashtag choosy.
Okay.
Choosy.
Tell us more.
Please tell us more. Are you trying to be chosen?
No, I'm talking about choosy. Choosy.
Is that like a brand of snacks? What are we talking about here? What is choosy? Spell it for me. CHEWZY?
No.
That's like a dog brand, right?
No.
Yeah.
That's no.
Help him out,
please.
Oh.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's why I said. So you want to be chosen?
Right, I do want to be chosen, and by God, I am chosen. But what I'm saying is, I have a choice too, right? Check. And so I have to be very mindful of what I'm choosing.
Okay.
Exactly. That's
choosy.
What I mean. Choosy. Absolutely.
I love to hear it. I think that correlates with this dilemma, the topic.
Yeah.
Okay, what you got?
Quite nicely. So let's Unfltrd Bonders. I don't know what we're going to call our friends.
Please, let's not go there right now. That needs a lot of work.
It does. We're kicking off with a fun fact that aligns to our topic.
Okay.
According to Christianity Today, 45% of Christian singles reported feeling outcast within the church, indicating a gap in how the church ministers to and integrates single people into their communities. Which kind of aligns to what I was saying in the beginning. Like there's this, woo, you're married and so everything's great, and we know that's not true.
Right.
But it lends itself to this experience, and I've not been single lately. So how do you feel about that statistic? Does it resonate? Is it completely wrong? Tell us how you feel.
I think that's pretty much aligned to the atmosphere that can be mistaken in the church, right? I think that we've heard so many podcasts, conferences, sermons, all geared towards, you need to be ready for your person. You need to be, if you haven't found that person yet, that means God has more work to do on you, right? Oh, you need to come to this this conference to get ready for that person. It's all geared towards that marriage, right? Instead of thinking about the season of singleness. And so I love opportunities like this, different. I'm not saying that all churches are like this, because it's the 45%, which means there's the other side too. Mm-hmm. I just love that there are opportunities that people are pouring into the singleness of people and letting them know that, hey, while you are waiting, there's still life to live. You have things to do. There's still fun to be had, right? And so, yes, I think the statistic is right, but today we're going to unpack.
Let's unpack it.
Why we can be still having fun.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. How would you personally define singleness, and how has this definition evolved over time?
I love that. So for me, I am single because I'm not married. I'm also not in a relationship, right? However, that definition has evolved because now when I meet someone, I have to kind of see if they have the same definition of single that I do. So I ask the question, are you single? And they say, yes. Okay. Are you married? They'll go, I just said I was single. I get it, but I got to ask it anyway. And they're like, no. Okay. Mm-hmm. Are you divorced? No. Okay. Are you separated? No. Okay. Are you in a situationship?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we got to break this all the way down. Are you in a situationship? They say no. Okay. If me and you were out and someone walked past, would they be upset that you are here, and would they feel the need to come and confront either you or me? Like, you have to break this stuff down, because people will say, oh, I'm single, thinking that, okay, I'm not married. But then they have these ties and relationships with people that they don't quite put a title on, but it does not mean by any means that they're truly single. Okay. Right? So for me, I am single because I am not married. I am not in a relationship. I am not currently entertaining anybody. So that's what I mean by single. Yeah.
Ooh, crystal.
Wow.
Clear.
Yeah.
I thought you was going to say, are you in a entanglement?
Oh, well, that's situationship. Entanglement works too.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, can you go to sleep with your phone face up?
Oh.
With your ringer on?
Oh, my.
You know?
With the ringer on.
With the ringer on. Like, if we're sitting at the coffee shop, is it like, you know?
So what you're leaning into, it sounds like almost like the standards as well. Like, I mean, like, here's my thought process. If you have to run down this, I guess, list, what does that say about the men that you are attracted to?
I like how you said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh,
So
Unfltrd Bonds,
Okay.
the podcast.
It was the accountability.
It was a little spicy.
No, I'm just curious, because that's a lot. No. And I'm like, wow, I never heard that. And you articulated that very well.
I think it's more about, yes, the people that I'm attracted to, but it's also in the environment. It's society currently right now in 2024. So you have people who are in marriages that are looking for a third person. You have
true.
people who are in relationships.
That's called poly, right?
Yeah. You have people who are in relationships who are looking for a third person. You have people who are, they're separated. And they're only together because it's a business ordeal, because some people view marriages as businesses. And so they're thinking that they're still open to finding other people. And so some of the single pool is still occupied by people who are not in fact single. So because I'm in the pool of singleness, right, and there's other people that may also coexist, I have to ask those questions, because sometimes people aren't so forthcoming
Yeah.
with information. And what I've learned about life is it's no fun to play or live in a gray area.
Yeah.
Right. So before I think that, oh, I'm envisioning this, or God, I'm going, no. Let's make things clear and very plain by asking the questions that need to be asked.
Jesus.
Run and tell that.
No, seriously. And then I even more, the more you talk, I'm reminded that you are a resident of Hotlanta.
A new resident.
A new
Yes,
resident.
because I need the people to know that I'm not a true Atlanta girl.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I just moved there in April. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So just so we clear, the culture there, I'm sure, is exciting. It's overwhelming. You have options.
Of course. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Baby, you want to transition?
Yeah.
I mean,
We don't need,
we can go like 2 hours talking about
Atlanta
Atlanta,
folks
but let's not.
come
Let's
through our
not.
good
We don't need
sis.
to send us straight to Atlanta. We have friends out there, you included. Yes. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how long you've been single, and how has your perspective on being single shifted recently? Like, when you first were single, were there different fears or doubts or a perspective that looks different than where you're at in your single journey right now?
Got it. So this is funny because a couple nights ago, I was thinking, I was like, how long have I been single? And I defaulted to the number that I normally would say, right? And there was a moment where I knew I needed to go back and really think about that. And once I started to do the math, I realized that I've been single for 5 years. And I was shocked. I mean, I know God wasn't shocked, but I felt like he was shocked with me in that emotion. It was like, so 5 years.
Love it.
Yes. So 5 years, right? And I know that my perspective has changed because in the beginning of that singleness, right, it was at the end of a relationship, and there was a lot of hurt there, right? And there was a lot of self-work that needed to be done. And I think some of those fears in the very beginning were, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I'm by myself, or I'm this old, I should be getting married, or I should have kids, and okay, what's going to happen now? And so it was all those things. And the thing that stood out very clear to me was before I can take a step towards another person, I needed to work on me first. So for those first year and a half after that relationship, I leaned in on doing the work, meaning as in my heart felt like it was in a million pieces. The world that I thought I knew came tumbling down because, if I'm going to be honest and take accountability, I had built it around the wrong person. And so I leaned into just doing the work because I knew that before the next person came into my life, I needed to clean up here so that I wouldn't bleed on somebody else.
Yes. Yes. That's what it's about.
Yes. And that's the thing. I leaned in, and once I kind of shifted that focus for me, then I was able to truly be honest with myself as to the parts that I played in that relationship. Because I think I love to ask different people, if you go out on dates, oh, well, what happened to your last relationship? And a lot of people will play the blame game, right? Well, they did this and they did this. And of course, there may be truth in that. And even when I think about my last relationship, there's truth in the things that were done to me. But there's also truth in the things that I allowed to be done to me because I didn't have the right perspective. My focus was off. And so I allowed things. I lowered boundaries. I compromised in areas that I should have never done because, again, my focal point was off. It was about the person versus my vertical relationship. And so, yes, once I was able to focus on that truth, then my fears fell away. In the sense of, you know what, being by myself actually isn't as bad as what I've been taught to believe it is. Actually, waking up with a clear mind, with peace, with joy, like that should be what I'm striving to do with God anyway. Like that's the baseline for this. And so that's how my mentality shifted. And I was able to now sit with God, who helped mend me in these areas.
That's good.
Yeah. To help me in those areas and say, you know what, I'm going to do this with, that's saying I can do bad all by myself. I can do good all with God by myself.
Oh,
right?
you saved. You're sanctified. You're holy. You're good.
The right person that's going to come along is going to be on that same similar journey, and we're just going to walk together in it.
I agree. So. I totally agree. I think what you kind of reminded me of when I was single, there was this striking difference or this a new awareness, which is you can be alone or you can be lonely.
Yeah.
And I think what you're journeying into and you're just experiencing as a single woman, you understand the difference of that and how you manage that and how you steward it.
Yes.
So yeah, no, I was on that same path, and then I ran into this beautiful woman I'm looking at. And so I totally agree. And that's why I commend you. Let's just go ahead and drop her another keys bomb.
Okay.
What about you? What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I especially love the part about I needed to do the inner work and circumcising my heart so that I didn't let it bleed on other people.
Jesus.
That is like, man, there's some people out here bleeding out.
Yes.
I was one of those people as a serial monogamous. I was like, ooh, I don't want to be alone with my thoughts. So let me just bleed on this other person for 2 years and us bleed on each other. And that is so unhealthy.
Very.
It's just trifling.
It is.
Downright nasty.
All right. I got it the first time.
Okay, got it. I'm just unfiltered.
No, but it really was. Yeah. So kudos to you.
No, that's real.
Absolutely.
And that's hard work.
It
and I think
is.
that kind of goes back to this idea about the single dilemma.
Right.
Because I think what that brings you to is this understanding like, okay, I know right from wrong. I can choose left. I can choose right. Or I can just go forward with God. And that's the hard part.
Yes. And I think that people don't understand that change sometimes comes out of desperation. Right. And I know that where I was at a desperate point. I felt like I was at the bottom. It was one of those things where I remember saying to God, only you can put these pieces together. I can't put these pieces together. Matter of fact, I don't even know if it can be put back together, because I feel like the pieces of my heart are ground to dust. Right. And so from out of desperation came that part of me that was like, if you don't do it, I don't know who will, because I can't. And to know that the work, yes, it was hard, but it was necessary. It was required. And I'm just happy I can look back and say, okay, I thank you for where I was, but I'm so much more grateful for where I am right now.
Amen.
So in today's culture, you spoke on this, being single can feel like a ticking time clock.
Yeah.
There's so much pressure.
Yes.
To focus on preparing yourself for the person. And then oftentimes that can lead to a feeling like you're not enough by yourself. And so talk about how that pressure has played out for you.
This year, I went to one of my annual appointments, and I had my doctor talk to me, and she said, so are you thinking about having kids anytime soon? And I was like, yeah, I mean, whenever that person comes. And she's like, well, you're almost getting to the age of a geriatric pregnancy. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I about fell off the counter. I fell off because I was like, first off, don't be disrespectful. Who you calling geriatric? That's not me. That's rude. That was just real loud and wrong. Okay. but it's things like that. You know what I'm saying? That I feel like society has this loud clock that's ticking, and then there's just like this subtle one that's ticking in the background. And words have power. So when you look at anyone and say geriatric, my mind does not see me in my perspective. It sees somebody else that's further along in life. And so
That was very kind of you to say it like that.
Okay, all right, because I love everybody. But yeah, so even in that moment, I was yet again reminded that I was single. And I think people never hesitate to remind you of where you are. They're quick to be like, you're still single? Why are you single? All these things. But yes, so what have I done with that pressure? I have leaned into God's understanding of it. And knowing that my time is just not his. And I have to lean into his, because if you ask me, why am I single? If I'm honest with the internal parts of myself, I say, okay, I haven't met that person. But the why I haven't met them, I don't fully understand that. Right. And I can honestly say, all right, I haven't met them yet. This doesn't make sense to me right now. All I know is this is the assignment that I've been given. So this is what I have to do. So I have just, every time my emotional side will try to come up, I remind it that there's a purpose. It's that person's coming. And while they're coming, I need to have fun. So relieve the pressure by me going to the beach, me reading the book I want to read, me watching the show I want to watch, me hanging out with the people that I want to hang out with. Realign my focus to the things that are my now, that will affect my future.
That's a really good way to handle that dilemma, because, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, I'm not, someone that can carry, but I do understand that that's important for women. So I do want to be sensitive to that. And just the idea of finding the right person, right? Because, Jesus, having a kid is a lot, And so, I don't know, it's very touchy. It's very, I empathize with you. Or is it sympathize? Because as a man, I can't empathize, because I would never know what that feels like. Yeah. But I definitely sympathize for you. So
what were you going to say, sis?
No, he just asked.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's tough. I guess you just put me in a position of like, I didn't think of it that way. Like to go to a doctor's appointment and be reminded that I'm single. That's deep.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Jesus.
All right.
You're just dropping bombs. Like, dang. Like, I only wanted to say a joke.
No, please say a joke. I mean, yes, I'm single, right? But I'm not dead.
Okay.
Right? I'm still living my best life right now.
Don't treat you like you.
Oh, I am living my best life.
That's good.
Okay. I am doing all the things that I have wanted to do, all for trying to fulfill all the dreams. I'm enjoying my life. And that's a beautiful thing.
All right. Yeah. Well, we got a Proverbs woman in the house. Wasn't that what you said? Lean not on your own understanding. I think that's Proverbs 18:22.
Come on now.
I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
Some saint will fact check that.
Absolutely.
Sure. I can't wait to see the comments. They're gonna be great.
Okay. Well, no, this is good. I like that you redirect that energy that could be devastating, and you can find yourself spiraling out of control, and you're choosing to manage that and steward that, going back to this idea of being lonely versus alone.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Yeah, because if you see me sitting by myself on the beach, just know that I chose to be by myself on the beach, because screaming. I like being on the beach by myself.
#choosy.
That's it. Okay.
Oh, that was good.
Ooh, I like how she did it though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Millennial, but it's okay.
It's great. Exactly.
I just registered that. That's the hashtag.
That's the hashtag. Yes.
Got it.
Yes. Someone take this
All
button
the
away from
bombs
me.
on
This is like my favorite thing to do.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so transitioning. I'm assuming now we got out some of the background. We journeying, we getting to know you and your past and where you are. So from a next point of view, what else we got, babe?
Yeah. We've all been tempted to settle at some point in our singleness. Ooh. Right? When the alone feelings turn to loneliness. Because I imagine that happens from time to time. So what has helped you hold out for something that feels God ordained, even when it feels like you have an inclination to settle?
Okay, so do the followers know that me and you were foodies? Do they know that?
They do now.
Okay. They absolutely do now.
Okay, so we're foodies. So I'm going to use this as an analogy. Because we are dedicated foodies.
Yes.
We don't do too well after we've settled on a meal. Right?
Oh, wow. She's about to go deep.
No remorse.
Oh, especially when we go to a restaurant, like we have a taste for something.
Yes. And we're hype.
And we hype about it. Matter of fact, we could have chosen any restaurant, but we chose this one because this is what we wanted. Mm-hmm. And then we get there and then they come out and they're like, oh, that was seasonal. We don't have that no more. Or, oh, we're out of this, so we can't make that tonight. And then we settle on another meal and it comes out.
Come on, Saint. Come on, Saint.
And as a real foodie, like you're gonna eat it, but ultimately it didn't quite quench that desire you had because you really wanted something else, but you settled for this. Mm-hmm. And that's the best way I can describe it right now. It's like it's knowing that something is amazing on the horizon, and if I settle, ultimately I'm not gonna be as happy as I could have been because I chose to take timing into my hands versus being patient. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's where my focus is, that I have to bring myself back in and remember, okay, even when the loneliness creeps in, even when I'm reminded 5,000 times by the aunt at the family reunion that I should have been married by now, even though she's probably married and divorced by now too. I'm sorry, my bad. I have to remember that there's a gift in waiting versus settling.
Okay, so I'm going to challenge that.
Absolutely. Bring it on.
And the reason I want to challenge that is because you still ate, which means your body got the nutrition it needed, which means your meal and appetite fulfilled you.
Okay, so let's go there. Go ahead.
But
right.
It wasn't the most excellent meal. Mm-hmm. So help me understand, like, how do you measure, I guess, the excellent versus the great, or excellent versus the good?
I measure the excellent because even though I ate, the excellent is still in my mind.
Oh, so there's still a void, huh?
It's still a void there.
There's still a desire.
Yes, yes. And did I? Okay, so clearly we're talking about food, so this is an analogy.
No, this is. I think the listeners are tracking.
Yeah, but okay, so me. Okay, but me eating, right, or me making that choice to eat in that moment, was it nutritional? Think about it. Like, okay, those choices matter. Like, was it nutritional? Did I pick something?
Well, the way you was describing out of season, you're a very bougie girl. Okay, so that is an indication that you went to a top tier restaurant.
Edit this out. Filter this out.
No, but
Bonds.
I'm just, only reason I'm challenging it is because I do believe that there is these opportunities where you really have to seize the moment. And I think this is a better question I'm trying to ask you is, how do you measure that in terms of that reality? Like, is it a checklist? Is it is there a guiding factor? Like, what is it that allows you to say, I want the latest, greatest, seasonal, hottest meal prepared by the Lord versus what the chef had in the kitchen?
Okay, that is good. I love that analogy.
Because it's a chef, chefs are good.
You're right.
But he ain't God. I get what you're saying. But you get where I'm going with this?
I get
I'm
exactly
just curious.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Let's translate it back to the person, right, to people. I measure that by, yes, we all have this list, right? It's, for in the case of Sierra, she had a prayer that she did.
Who is Sierra?
Russell Wilson's woman.
Oh,
she talks about the prayer that she prayed, and then Russell came along, and now she's happy.
I thought she dated Future.
That was before she prayed.
That was
and she
that
made
was
the
just
list.
that was a bad joke. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Sorry. Someone laughed. Okay, yeah, so she dates Russell.
Yes, okay, but yes, we all have a list, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I look at my list, and it's not filled with like frivolous things. Like, it's not filled with like, oh, he has to be over 6 feet, or he's got to be chocolate, or he's got to be cafe con leche. It's not filled with those things. I focus on like, what's going to happen when all those looks fade away? Because looks can fade away, right? Or life happens. Somebody can get sick, or in a car accident. All these things happen. So I try to focus in on what what is it that I want 50 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
What is going to hold us and keep us together, right?
Who can you really die with?
Thank you. Yeah. Who can I love and die with? That's exactly right. Who can I serve with? Yeah. Who can I laugh with for 50 years?
And who wants to die with you?
That part.
Jesus.
I need to be thank you. I need to be the person that ultimately that I want them to choose. Yeah. Right. And so yes, it is a quote unquote list, but my list stands up to time, to purpose. Right. Because I also believe that who I dated when I was 15 shouldn't look like who I'm dating at my age of 35. Mm-hmm. Like we all have seasons. Life is full of seasons. And right now, the season that I am, it is so influential that it's almost like little dominoes. When you push over one, you push over the rest of them, right? And so I understand that this choice, which is why I'm choosy, this choice for now dictates where I'm going or my destiny, right? And these decisions matter for forever, what I'm about to do now. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I mean by being intentional on who I'm choosing, being intentional on what I am eating or dining or filling myself up with, because I don't want to not have an appetite when my real entree arrives.
Ooh, that's good.
I ain't gonna do it. No, that's facts. I think what I took away from what you just shared, it reminded me of when I started dating Ashton. And I was just blown away. I was like, okay, this is not real. So of course I called a really close confidant and I said, I'm dating this girl and I think she's like the son of God. It's like she's perfect. And I'm like, why is this the case? And you know, I'm very intentional. So in my mind, I'm dating her. I think we're going on like 3 months at the time. And I was like, okay, she invited me to go to Thanksgiving to her family. I was like, oh, I'm about to really find out who she is.
Here we go.
And I was just, I'm not going there.
Okay.
But I got you. I'm going to protect you on this one. But
you can go there.
I get to St. Louis and I'm like, okay, let me pay attention to how the family treat her, because now I'm about to really see this perfect girl fall apart. Bruh, I've never seen someone love a family member like they loved Ashton. I panicked. I called my confidant. I was like, dude, she's like perfect. And I'm concerned because I like her, but I don't think she's Jesus. So what is it? And he says, stop judging her character, or judge her by the posture of her heart. And I was like, oh, okay, what's the difference, you know? But what it began to teach me is that Ashton's character was flawless. It was without speck. But once we began to start to see the posture of our heart and it revealed another layer, I was just like, wow. So I bring that up because I think it kind of speaks to what you're talking about, is that you're pursuing someone who has the heart posture of God.
That's right.
You know, someone who has the fruit of the Spirit. That's right. Because like you said, beauty fades, looks fade, all that fades. So who can I actually die with that's going to have a heart posture that's going to leave a legacy for our family? That's going to live past us. And so I totally understand that and I respect that, because it takes a great person to just say, I'm going to look past everything I see and I'm going to look within. Yeah. And then, do I like that version of you?
Exactly.
Because that's where the work really starts.
And as a woman, I have to say, is this who I want to submit to?
That part.
Like, because the word submit, like the world, it tries to paint it to be so bad. Oh my goodness. Oh, you're terrible. It's weak. It's all these things. But submission done right.
Yes.
Amen.
Is beautiful. There is beauty in knowing that because my future husband will love God, that means that he'll love me. And because he loves God, that means he answers to God. Yeah. Which means that he's going to cover me. Like it's an order of things, right? And there's beauty in knowing that. Yep. And so, of course, during this search, or not even this search, quote unquote, because I'm going to just be chosen and found. But anyway, while I'm living my life, I have to sit and say, well, Willietta, is this the person that you want to submit to? Yeah. Has he shown you that he's submitting to the right one in order to properly love you? So
yeah, I think that's found in the book of Ephesians for anybody who wants to reach out to Willietta. Study that.
Wait, are you going to put
And
like
then-
a call number at the bottom?
Would you like us to?
Hey,
Not a
the
call
man
number.
who wants to choose her, right?
Choosy.
You know?
That's
Hey.
hilarious. Oh my
But you
gosh.
did just say something, and I got to lean in. But before I go there, do you? I want to make sure my wife is speaking here. Do you got
Yeah.
any reactions or any thoughts?
No, I completely agree with you, because the only reason I was willing to seriously date Jordan was because on our first phone call, he had said he was interested. So I knew romantically, like, he's into me.
Mm-hmm.
But he prayed, and at first I was like,
You know,
said,
I
"Is this
prayed
a
the
trap?"
heavens down that day.
You said, "Is this a trap?"
Are you trying to be churchy on me?
No, I was being holy.
I love the distinction.
I love that you're doing this, but what are your intentions?
Yeah.
But what I quickly realized was that he prayed and he surrendered our relationship to the Lord and said, Lord, if she's supposed to be my friend, let me prepare my heart for that outcome.
Because we're not going to be friends. I didn't have no room for a girl to be in my life if it wasn't my wife.
That's good.
That's literally what I told you.
But it showed me submission. Like, he was willing
That's
to
good.
say, I'm really into you. And if the Lord says I cannot be with you, then it is what it is.
That's right.
And that was like, in that moment, I was like, yeah, we can talk.
Yes. Because that's what submission is. It doesn't mean that we agree.
Yeah.
Like, me submitting to God does not mean that I agree with what he's
Yes.
asking me to do.
No.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's knowing that our thoughts aren't equal.
Yes.
Our thoughts aren't different. No, his thoughts are higher than
Jesus.
mine.
Come on, preach.
You know what I'm
You've
saying?
been in your Bible.
Look, I cannot with this man.
Preach.
So that's what submission is. It's me knowing, again, like you said, that I may not like everything that God tells me to do or wants me to do or allows into life. But if I submit to him, just like I would want my husband to do, then that's how it's supposed to be. And in submission, you get covered. So you're safe.
That's good.
Yeah.
This is so good, and we're definitely over time, but I just have to lean into, you said, I want to be chose and found.
Yeah.
Okay, so Proverbs 18:22. This is the actual scripture. It says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor and approval from the Lord. I feel like there's this dilemma around this scripture where women are available. They can pursue a man if they want to, but they choose not to because they want to be found. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I think I get what you're trying to say.
Because it don't sound like you would ever go up to a man and say, hey, who are you? Or would you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have
would do
pursued a
that.
man before.
I wouldn't say pursued.
You showed interest.
I showed interest.
So if
right?
he threw you the ball, you dribbled it and you went up for the layup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Would you ever throw him a ball? Like, hey, fine, sir, what's your name? Would you go like that? Would you say, can I buy you a drink?
you know what? Yes.
Okay.
I have done things along that line. Yes.
Good.
And I don't see that as pursuing. I see that as me making myself available, right? Because to be found means that I have to be available, right? And there's nothing wrong with talking to people, because at the end of the day, I should be able to have a conversation, throw a compliment, anything, because it's about where my heart posture is, right? I shouldn't be throwing myself at this man's feet. At the end of the day, it should be, hey, the door is open. Would you like to enter the door?
This is good.
Right.
I think you saving somebody.
And that's all that is. Yeah,
No.
but I've purchased a man a drink before.
Okay. Only reason I'm asking that is because I just feel like there's this cultural standard that you as a woman should never pursue a man. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes, but I'm here to inform you because you've been out of the single world for a while.
Oh, okay. Tell
In
me more.
2024, the women are not afraid to shoot their shot, to slip in a DMs. They're not afraid at all.
Jesus. I'm dated.
I promise you.
Okay, good.
I
This
am
is
too.
good to know.
I promise you, they are not afraid.
Okay. Well, this sounds like the single world is evolving.
Oh, it's definitely evolving.
I think what I want to know is when you think about this idea, and I have a question, so let me pull it up and journey with me, talk with me, and this is an assumption. I'm assuming you've been here, but if not, maybe you can provide hope for someone who is. When you feel like you've done everything right and waiting for the right person, or maybe you're dating someone who isn't progressing the relationship forward, who do you blame? Is it God, yourself, or them?
I don't think I blame anyone. I don't think I blame anyone because I think the word blame would mean that it's someone's fault, right? And in the sense of wrong was done, hurt was inflicted, so now this isn't working. And my approach to dating in these last 5 years is when I am dating someone or I go out on a date with someone or whatever the case may be, if it's not working, I find so much peace in the not working that it's more of a thankfulness.
That's good.
Like, because ultimately, if I don't want to choose wrong, right, and I want to choose what God has for me, and that's the best, then everything that isn't that, it shouldn't be anyone's fault. It's just in the words of Ariana Grande, thank you, next. That's it.
That's it.
Go be with God. Go live your life. And that's okay.
I think this speaks to just your level of emotional intelligence, emotional healthiness.
Now, I will tell you that sometimes is not the most well received because, people will ghost people. And I try to be very respectful of people. So I will flat out have the conversation. I'll flat out tell that person, hey, like, I've prayed about it or I've thought about it. I've slept on it. And I just feel like we're not going in the same direction. And so I respect you, your heart, your time too much to play with you. So I want to let you know that versus ghosting someone, like respectfully closing a chapter, because ultimately I have to be mindful of how I handle other people too. Right? Because my words, my actions, all of those things have consequences. Those are seeds that I'm sowing.
There's power in the tongue.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that's, like I said, it's not a blame game. It's me sitting and saying, okay, this is just not for me. And that's okay.
This is good. For this to be about the single dilemma, I'm interested. Last question, Ashton.
Yeah. What's the most valuable lesson you've learned in singleness?
Okay. Y'all don't be mad at me. So I know the title of this is The Single Dilemma. But the most valuable lesson that I've learned is it's not a dilemma. It's not a dilemma at all because there's a reason why I am doing what I'm doing, right? It's a reason why I'm in this season, and everything that I'm going through is not for me. It's for somebody else, right? And so during this season, I'm supposed to embrace it. So that looks like truly doing the things that I've always wanted to do. It looks like me still having fun, me laughing, me showing up, me embracing my friends who are married, right? Me cheering on people from the sideline because that's what love is. So I don't really feel like it's a dilemma. I think that my biggest thing that I've learned is I'm still supposed to live.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, specifically gentlemen, I think we're going to put our number at the bottom of the screen at this point.
I want to land on scripture.
Oh, you got a scripture?
Yes.
Come on, woman of God.
Yes.
Because this is good. Because singleness is not a dilemma.
It's not a dilemma.
Dilemma. I just messed it up.
You made it
okay.
Spanish.
Is that it?
A little Spanglish.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a dilemma. It's a delight.
Oh, wow.
And Psalm
You are so saved, and I
37,
love it.
4 says, take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart.
Jesus. And she's literally walking that out in real time.
Real time. Yeah. God
No,
bless
really.
you.
What's your number? No, just kidding. But if someone is interested in finding you, where could they find you? Is there Instagram?
I think they should come to you.
Okay.
I think they should come to you.
Hey.
Man of God. He
She
has
wants-
discernment. So men, come correct.
Holla at your boy.
Or there's no conduit to the beautiful Willietta, he will leave you on red.
Yeah,
Jordan,
I do that often.
That's a warning for you.
I think
the
that's
message.
good. Yeah. Even though this is unfiltered, I know that you will filter.
Oh,
Hit the little button. I need the little. Okay, I'm done.
well, I
So
think this.
at Jordan got the producer.
I'm dead. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'll reach out to you.
Your DM's gonna be.
No, but this has been a joy. It is a pleasure to sit down with such a giant in the faith and just owning your singleness and sharing your story with us. We appreciate you for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
And I think this does it for the Unfiltrd Bonds podcast. I'm your host, Jordan, and
Ashton.